How's it going, boys? The Trickums here. Today I will be bringing you all a series of videos with the future changes to all of the weapons abilities and the perk associated with this ability. The reason I'm doing this is because given that there's not enough people playing in the PTR, I doubt that the developers will have enough information to fix these things before it goes to live. The perks that need to be buffed, the perks that needs to be nerfed, and the perks that are not working at all. Without any further ado, let's start this. The first weapon we're going to cover is going to be the Fire Staff. The first ability we're going to be talking about is going to be Pillar of Fire, and the perk associated with that ability is Refreshing Pillar of Fire, which with the new update on the weapon, it says that it reduces this ability's cooldown by 24% per enemy hit with Pillar of Fire, maximum 3 targets. Now, as you see here, we're going to be using it against 3 targets, the 2 dummies and the 1 enemy. And as you can see, the cooldown goes from 9 seconds to basically 1.9 seconds. This is hitting 3 targets, which is the maximum amount of targets that we can hit. Now we're going to try with 1 target. As you can see, the cooldown goes from 9 to 6. With 2 targets, it's going to go from 9 to 4. And back again with 3 targets, it goes back down to that 1.9 second, 2 seconds. So basically it reduces about 2.3 seconds for each enemy hit. This ability is working when hitting 3 targets, but I realized that there is a minor issue. When I was using it against the dummies, the first time I was using it, it was taking the cooldown all the way from the 9 seconds to the, to the 4 seconds, but as you can see here, it goes from 9 to 4, but on the second use, every time I used it with 2 targets, it went from 9 to 6. So the first use was from 9 to 4 because it was hitting 2 targets, but then on the second use, it was going from 9 to 6. So we can safely say that this perk is working, but sometimes we might find that minor little issue right there where you hit 2 targets and the cooldown, instead of going all the way down to 4, it might be going down to 6. I think this is a bug that should be fixed. There should not be inconsistencies whenever you're hitting this amount of targets. The next ability we're going to be talking about is Meteor Shower, and the perk that goes with this ability is Empowering Meteor Shower. When Meteor Shower hits, you gain up to 3% empower for 10 seconds, maximum 10 stacks. As you can see here, I already had the 10 stack, which I'm doing that extra 30% increased damage. And now this depends on how many targets you're hitting. If you're hitting 5 targets, you will be getting 5 stacks every time the Meteor Shower hits. If you hit 10 targets, you will immediately get the 10 stacks as soon as you use your Meteor Shower. And after that, you can cancel your Meteor Shower and go ahead and do your basic attacks, Fireball, Pillar of Fire, whatever you want to use. Afterwards, it will have for the next 10 seconds that increased 30% damage. As you can see there, my attacks were doing 1500, and after the empowering went away, it went down to 1200. So, like I said, you get those 10 stacks. You use your other abilities, and whenever you don't have the empowering back, you can go ahead and use the Meteor Shower once again. Now, the one thing that I noticed is the damage of Meteor Shower does not increase as those empowerings are going up. As you can see there, it remains 317. The damage of the Meteor Shower will only increase after you use Meteor Shower with the 10 stacks or any other stacks. As you can see here now, it's going to be 405 instead of the 300 that we were doing previously. So Meteor Shower now, it's actually pretty good, giving you that 30% increased damage. You can go ahead and use it as an artillery mage. You can go into the back, get those 30% increased damage, and then go ahead and use your Fireball and your Pillar of Fire and continue with your basic attack. Switch to your Ice Gauntlet, use your Blizzard, and then whenever you have your Meteor Shower back again, switch back to your Fire Staff, use the Meteor Shower, and get that 30% increased damage once more. And that is just a pretty good use of Meteor Shower now that previously was completely unusable. This perk is working, so I give it a thumbs up. The next ability we're going to talk about is Fireball, and the perk that goes with this ability is Empowering Fireball. Your Fireball impact deals 57% additional damage. And as you can see here, the impact without empowering fireball is about 1063. Yeah, I'm gonna show you again. This is a fireball without empowering fireball, and the base damage is 1063. Now I'm going to go ahead and equip an empowering fireball fire staff, and we'll go from there. So this next attack is with the empowering fireball perk, and as you can see, the damage went from basically 1000 to 1500, giving you that extra 50% increased damage. As you can see there, 1563 is the final number with empowering fireball. Previously it was about 1063. With the empowering fireball, it's 1563, giving you roughly 50% increased damage. The next ability we're going to talk about, it is Burnout, and the perk associated with this ability is Efficient Burnout. Until your next hit, you deal 32% increased fire damage, and your mana regen rate increased by 129% for 8 seconds after using Burnout. Previously, you were able to get the mana regen by canceling Burnout and not actually using it, but now they made it that you need to finish the full animation for you to not only get the damage increase, but for you to also get that mana regen. Now, as you can see here, my fireball did 1164, and my basic attacks are doing 1263. The moment that I use Burnout, I will get that damage increase, and on my next attack, you can see that the fireball now is doing 1540 because it got the increased damage from the Burnout. Here I'm gonna show you now with my basic attacks. Once again, my basic attacks are 1200. After I use the Burnout, my next attack is going to go up to 1671 and then go down to 1263 after I use the first hit. Now I want to show you something here with the flamethrower. Since the flamethrower is not considered a hit, as you can see there, my regular burns were doing 503 damage, and after I use my Burnout and I start using the flamethrower, since I got 32% increased fire damage, now my burn is doing 665 for the entire 8 seconds. For the entire 8 seconds. Once those 8 seconds are over, the damage of the flamethrower went back down to 503. Now, since the flamethrower is not considered a hit, that means that the flamethrower will continuously do that increased damage until the buff runs out. But if you're able to use a fireball right before the buff runs out, you will get the benefit of doing that extra 32% increased damage with the flamethrower, and then at the very end get the use of a fireball or a basic attack for you to do that extra 32% increased damage with the fireball or the basic attack. You can also stack this with empowering fireball perk. If you have the empowering fireball perk on your weapon and you have the efficient burnout on your gear, you can use an efficient burnout, then use an empowering fireball, and you will be doing a crazy amount of damage because the weapon will give you an increase of 57%, and then the efficient burnout will give you an increase of like 20 something percent when not used on the weapon, to be able to probably hit the highest number that we have ever seen before as a fire mage. Efficient Burnout will also work with Meteor Shower, but Meteor Shower is considered a hit given that the moment that you use Meteor Shower, you will consume that buff, and then for the entirety of Meteor Shower, you will do the extra damage, but at the time that Meteor Shower is either cancel or finish, you will have consumed that increased damage, so your basic attack or fireball after that will not do extra damage. The next ability we're going to talk about is going to be the Flamethrower, and the perk associated with this ability is Accelerating Flamethrower. Applying 3 stacks of burn damage on a target with the Flamethrower grants haste, increasing movement speed by 38% for 2 seconds. For this ability to keep on working, you need to keep on burning the enemy, because the moment that you stop burning the enemy and the buff runs away, then you have to reapply it. But as long as you keep on burning the enemy, that buff will remain there the whole time. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. That 38%, I don't actually think is actually 38%. Because on the live version, I'm using Kingly Speed, which is 30. And whenever Kingly Speed procs, I can feel like I can run at the same speed as the enemy. And only whenever the King Speed it's over is that the enemy is able to get away from me. But here, with this accelerating flamethrower, which is supposed to be an extra 8% of movement speed, I was thinking that I was gonna be able to outrun the enemy, given that if 30% on the live version I was able to remain on the target until it was over. With 38%, I was gonna be able to not only run at the same speed, but to run a little bit faster than the regular player. So I don't know exactly if this 38% is working as intended, but for me, if you want me to be honest, it does not feel like a 38%. It feels more like a 25% movement speed increase. Now, another thing that I noted, that this thing still happens in the live version and it continue happening over here in the PTR, is that whenever you have accelerating flamethrower speed buff on you, any other speed buff that you get gets immediately canceled and thrown away. So for example, if you're using accelerating flamethrower, right, and you have that extra movement speed for, you know, as long as you're burning the enemy, if you have that on your gear and you have keenly speed on your weapon, the moment that keenly speed gets activated by a critical, keenly speed will come in and immediately disappear, and you will not get the use of it. Also, we have the movement speed on the fire staff tree, that whenever we use a fire ability, you get that 10% increased movement speed for a 10-second cooldown. So whenever that debuff goes away, right, the 10-second cooldown goes away, and we're ready to use it again, since the flamethrower is constantly being used, that ability will proc immediately. And once again, that ability, if I'm using accelerating flamethrower, it will come in, it will go out. I will not get the use of it, but I will still get the cooldown of this ability. This is I don't think this is as intended. Either you know, give me the extra movement speed, or don't make it proc and then immediately disappear. Also, another thing that I noticed is that whenever we use the fire staff fire ability and we get the haze, the cooldown is supposed to be 10 seconds, but in reality it's starting in 6 seconds. And then once it reaches 0, it remains there for an extra 4 seconds until the 10 seconds are fully over. But this is misguiding, because you are looking at the cooldown down there, hoping that whenever it reaches 0, you will be able to use and get that movement speed once again. But the actual cooldown, instead of starting in 10 seconds, it's starting on 6 seconds. And then once it reaches 0, it remains there for an extra 4 seconds. Once again, this is just a visual bug, but it's a little misleading. The last ability we're going to talk about for the fire staff, it will be Incinerate, and the perk associated with Incinerate is the brand new stable Incinerate. Incinerate gains grid and deals extra additional damage. On the weapon it's 19%, but on the gear it's way less than that. Honestly, the only good thing about this is it's the grid that it gets. This ability should have had grid since the very beginning of the game, or reduce the cast time, because it's just unnecessarily long. As you guys see here, this the Incinerate gets grid from the very start of the cast all the way into the very end, making you immune to almost every single CC in the game, for the exception of stunts. Stunts is the only CC in the game that does not care about grid. And there you go, I was trying to use Incinerate, but then the shockwave was followed, and therefore the Incinerate got interrupted. Here we're gonna try it once more again. Shockwave before using the Incinerate, and it got interrupted, meaning that at whatever stage of the Incinerate, a Shockwave or a Vault Kick will still interrupt your Incinerate, but something like Wrecking Ball, Spear, Perforate, Reap, none of those things will stop Incinerate. Here's once more against Wrecking Ball / Miley Cyrus, and as you guys can see, we are completely immune to the flattening of the Wrecking Ball. I'm gonna try one more time, testing it with Path of Destiny, and there you go, guys. The grid from Incinerate makes you completely immune to the stagger of Path of Destiny. So we tested against flattening, we tested against stagger, and once again, the only one that stops you is that you know, the hard stuns from the Shockwave or the Vault Kick. And that's about it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was the very first weapon that we covered. It is the Fire Staff. The next weapon we're going to cover is going to be the Ice Gauntlet, so stay tuned for that one. It might come up tomorrow or the day after. I'm gonna try to do them every day or every other day until we cover every single one of the weapons and all of the changes that they have made to these weapons. That way you guys don't have to go into the PTR, test it yourself, spend endless hours trying to get this gear, because as you know, crafting this gear, getting these pieces of armors and weapon with the perks that you need on the PTR, it's extremely tedious, and it's very much time consuming. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna craft all these weapons, I'm gonna get them all ready, and I will make all these videos so you guys have the information without wasting your time. If you guys have any question, you guys can leave it on the comment section below, or you guys could come into my stream every single day and talk about builds, weapon changes, whatever you guys want to talk about. Just hop into the stream. I will more than gladly talk to you about these things. And once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.